Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Rebecca and on this channel I go for all things accounting, finance, Excel and investment related, so if you like this kind of stuff then please do consider subscribing, and otherwise we're going to jump straight into the video. So I'm actually going to jump onto the computer in order to show you what my passive income for July and August is, so I shall see you on there in a second. Okay, so first I'm just going to log into Vanguard. So as always, this is just the dashboard, so you can see your ISA value there, and you can see how much of your ISA allowance that you've used in a year. So the ISA allowance in a year from April the 6th to April 5th, so it's April 6th 2021 to April 5th 2022, is £20,000 per year. So that just means that you can invest that much into an ISA and not be taxed on that amount. So if we then have a look over here at investments here, so that tells you your largest holding. So mine's with the Life Strategy 100% Equity Fund accumulation, which I'll show you in a second. And as it stands, my personal rate of return to date is 12.63%, which I think is really, really good. So let's just have a look at performance here. So you get a listing of the holdings that you own, and then you've got a tab for performance and a tab for insight, all of which are really useful. So if we have a look on here, you can see that I hold 80% of my fund in this Life Strategy 100% Equity Fund accumulation, and then around 20% in the FTSE 100 Index Trust Accumulation Fund. And you can see here, if you look at the change, that actually the FTSE 100 has made more of a gain compared to the Life Strategy 100% Equity Fund, because even though that when you actually split that divided by the percentage, then this one down here, this 19.75, which only makes up 20%, has actually outperformed this one up here. And you can see that a bit better if I go on performance. You can see how that's performed every month. And if we actually go on calculations here, that'll tell you how much cash you've paid in. So I've paid 1,000 to date, and I only put in 100 every month, so it's not a massive amount of investment. And I only do this to show you again that anybody can invest a small amount, but obviously seek professional guidance if you're unsure as to what you're doing. But I only put £100 in every single month, and I've managed to gain a return of £69.05, which is more than what it would have got in the bank, because the current rate of interest in the bank is about between 2% and 3% if you're lucky. So if we have a look at that by month, you can then see how this has worked out. So you can see here clearly that in some months there's actually a loss. So there's always a chance that you can make a gain or a loss of your investments, which you obviously have to be aware of. But you can also see here that overall I've made a gain of £69.05. So this £69.05 is made up of all of the gains and losses between December 2020 and August 2021. So my end balance is £1,069.05, which is great, so I'm happy with that. You can see here that I've been charged fees in some months, and you can see how much I've actually put in those particular months. And if we click on investments here, you can see that a little bit better split between the two different funds that I hold. So you can see there that I've actually purchased £800 of this Life Strategy Equity Fund and only £200 of this FTSE 100 Index Fund. And you can see there a little bit better that actually the capital return is 12.55% versus 11.76% over here in the Life Strategy Equity Fund. And if you go on Insight here, you can actually see how that's split out. So you can see that 79% of my investments are in blended, 21% is equity, and 0 is in cash. And you can actually see where those are held geographically. So you can see 8% of that is in Europe, 38% in North America, 38% in the United Kingdom, and then the rest is spread across like Central, South America, Middle East, Africa, Asia, Pacific, Japan, etc. And here's where my top 10 investments are held. So within those funds that I actually have is a big pool of different index funds. So the funds that I hold are almost funds within a fund, basically. But I've delved into that in a little bit more detail in a prior video if you want to go ahead and have a look at that. I'll put up a link just up here for you to see that if you do want to learn a little bit more about it. But that's not the aim of this video. So if you look at sector allocation as well, you can see what sectors those funds are in. So I've got 15.6% of financials, 13.8% in information technology, 11.7% in consumer discretion, healthcare, then we've got industrials, consumer staples, communication services, materials, energy, and then other. And again, here you can see that within the last 3 months, I have started at £727.16. I've put in £300, and my investments returned a £41.89 in that period. So actually, over the last 3 months, my rate of return was 4.76%. But overall, it's a little bit higher. So since I've had these funds, it's 12.63%. So that's just the investments with Vanguard. And then if we have a look at the rent, so I actually have one property that's being rented out again for £550, and the mortgage on that is £180. So in total every month I'm getting a gain back of £370. But as I've mentioned before, if you are renting out properties or thinking about renting out properties, then you've got to bear in mind that you've got the likes of wear and tear that you need to make an allowance for, and you're also going to have tax, which is going to be at 20%. So when you're thinking about renting, just make sure that you put some money aside for tax that you're going to have to pay, and repairs, etc., that you're going to have to pay. So don't just take this bottom line here, this £370 a month, as being what you're taking in and that you can just spend that willy-nilly. You definitely want to make sure that you're putting some of that aside. So if we have a look at July and August, we can see that we made a loss of 7p in July and a gain of £18.55 in August. And we can see that each month we made £370 in rent, net of mortgage. So overall in July and August, you can see that I made the £370.07 in July and £388.55 in August, which brings the total passive income in July and August to £758.62. So I hope you found this video useful. As always, consider subscribing, hit the thumbs up if you like the video, you found it useful, and I shall see you on the next video.